How long do you want to go without your Apple Watch? This is Mac Voices. This edition of Mac Voices is supported by the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter to keep you up on all the latest from Mac Voices. Watch or listen to Mac Voices straight from your email client. Sign up at macvoices.com/newsletter and stay up to date. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. This is the second part of a Mac Voices live conversation. This time around, we wrap up a discussion of extra large monitors, multiple monitors, and how to set them up, color calibration, and why it may or may not be important to what you do. Then we focus on the main topic, which is how long would you want to go without your Apple Watch? I relate why I was unable to wear my Apple Watch for about a week and a half, and then the panel jumps in with their thoughts on how they use their Apple Watch. And I think you might find some of the observations and comments very, very interesting. So let's go right back and let the panel do the talking.
Well, that's
kind of work with that.
That's interesting because part of that is certainly a lot of pro photographers I know. Even if they take a photo on their iPhone, they'll go in and they'll make color adjustments, and maybe they may crop it, but they'll certainly make color and lightness adjustments before they share it with anybody. So there's certainly a big community out there for it. The other thing that you touch upon is sort of just on a broad basis. These tools are out there, but I really wonder if more than 5% of people actually have done color adjustments, or even cropped a photo on their phone or using the Photos app. So I think a lot of people just they point and click, and that's good enough. And it's sort of an acquired taste that you can make this photo look better. Or maybe a lot of people just don't care or just don't care to learn.
Yeah, unless if you expect Coca-Cola Red to be Coca-Cola Red, you expect IBM Blue to be IBM Blue. There's some companies that are so tied to the identity, but I'm sort of to Jay's point. I wonder how many people really notice if it's just a little bit off, unless you were to put something side by side and say, okay, do these match?
Well, is everyone here on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Because
yes.
Okay. No. So if you're not, I'd be shocked. You look at the photos people post. And this is a professional forum, and they're just. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible photos. Sort of like, what sort of image are you putting forward of yourself? And I think this is either people don't know, or they don't know, they can't tell, they don't care. It's somewhere in that triangle of of stuff.
A lot of people that are taking these photos, they have no eye for photography. Simply because no one has ever taught them. They just simply have the tools in their hands, and so they use them. But then part of it comes back to the whole display thing. Like, that they may have something that they did on their PC that they think the color looks good, and it's not going to look the same on other computers. And they don't know any different because it looks the way it's supposed to for them. And a lot of these people, you could say, what are Amazon's logo colors? And you'll hear black, but then you're probably going to hear yellow from a lot of people and orange from a lot of people. And it's black and orange. And I even went so far as to double check. The orange is Pantone 1375C. So that's like the color of the skin on a navel orange. And how many people are listening or watching right now, and they're like, no kidding, that's not the color that I thought it was, because it doesn't look that way on their screen.
Right.
And so, Jeff, as you were saying that, my Catalina background just changed color because it went to dusk, which was really very strange.
My Big Sur one just did too.
And that was one of the things that I made sure was turned off on my computer. Do not be messing around with what colors on my display, Apple, or anyone.
This went in a completely unexpected turn, but I like it. I mean, I hope we gave some folks a little bit of education and some thinking.
Do we have chat room questions?
No, the chat room is very
really.
quiet. I think they're either asleep or stunned. I'm not sure which.
I think they've
A little
been
bit of
taking
both.
notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Waiting to find out about your Apple Watch experience.
There
Yes,
wasn't
what?
enough yelling. Chuck, what's the yelling topic? I want that one.
Well, this next one. Okay, we'll have
There
a
might be
yelling
some
topic
yelling right
coming
here.
up. Yeah, but this isn't it. I am. Last Tuesday, when we did MacVoices Live, we had a lot of Apple Watch discussion. And unbeknownst to me, I was just embarking on an adventure called Poison Ivy.
Oh,
And I got poison ivy on arms, legs, and as a result, by about Wednesday afternoon, I had to take off my Apple Watch. I could no
Don't pee
longer
on it.
wear
That won't get rid of the sting.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Jay. And I have to tell you, I've been shocked at how often and how much I have missed my Apple Watch. I mean, I knew it had become a big part of my life. And I've said from day one that, if I left it at the house in the morning and forgot it, I would come back for it. But during the pandemic, I've been using more apps. Apparently, unbeknownst to me, Apple Pay became a much bigger thing. It just kind of crept up. And now, in fact, I missed a text message from one member of this panel that sent me something, and I didn't know about it until like 4 days later. Because, ordinarily it would buzz on my wrist. I'd look down and say, okay, address that. I was away from my phone, or my phone was away from me. And it brought it home so much. I mean, appointments, I used to get reminders for appointments on my watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not so much. So I wanted to share that because for all the health tracking and activity tracking that we get so hung up on, but it's that productivity, that's that functionality that I just miss so much. And I was curious to see if any of you have either intentionally or unintentionally gone without your Apple Watch for any period of time and had the same experience.
Here, if
Jay?
I go without it, you can see my tan line that I've sported here.
Same here. Yep. Same here. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I've got that too, but right now it's filled in with scales and scabs. It's
Well, right now I'm using this as an opportunity to charge it.
okay.
I haven't-
You wouldn't think I'd have a tan line, but I totally have a tan line from mine.
I haven't worn my Apple Watch in 2 years, 3 years, probably. It's right here. It's dead. Like it's just no. It's not going to turn on. I mean, I could charge it if I wanted. But
Jay, open the door and go open your
So
front
it's an
door.
old
Say,
Apple
"Everyone want a
Watch."
free Apple Watch," and toss it to a more disturbing person.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
series.
what-
It's
what
a series
version
1, I
is
think.
it?
Series 1.
Oh, it's sold.
And see, Jay disrespected his watch, and now he's frozen. So, serves you right,
Apple
Jay.
is listening.
What I think what I use mine for most is in no particular order is text somebody a thing, whatever that might be. Hey lady, text Chuck, you're totally wrong. Number 2, set a timer for a time, because I set timers for stuff constantly. So I find that super helpful as well, whether it's cooking, or I'm going to do this thing for 5 minutes, or I have to do something when this time, take the laundry out when this is up, whatever. Like I have those kind of timers for stuff all the time, and remind me. So remind me in an hour to do the thing. Remind me at 6 p.m. to text Chuck that the show should be over right now, whatever. That kind of stuff. Like I use it for the smaller transactions that I would normally handle on my phone. I find that I do most of that stuff on my watch now. I'm very curious what apps you're using though, because I still don't have like a ton of apps on my watch. I don't use much beyond what the system gives me. So if anyone who is apparently not Jay has some hot tips for some good watch apps, I would like to know. Right now,
I'm in the same camp as you. I basically use a lot of the built-in apps, and
I can't show it because I can't bend my arm that way, but it looks like this. This is my current watch face. If I can get it to turn on, there we go.
Okay, the dog.
Nice.
Figures.
Kelly, I have an app that you need to install on your phone, so you have the companion watch complication, and that's Air Visual. And the reason you need this is because you live in a place like I do, where we have wildfire season and a few weeks other than that. And Air Visual gives you a regularly updated AQI right on your watch face.
Ooh, okay.
And you can get alerts too.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's free too.
And it's free. They should be charging for it, seriously, because it's so good.
We're making Chuck very sad that he doesn't have his watch on right now.
Well, no.
I have Air Visual. I just didn't realize it had a watch complication.
Yeah.
Oh, well, pop it on your watch.
That sounds familiar. So, okay.
Yeah.
I'll add it.
But Jay, Kelly used an interesting word, the minor transactions. I don't think I would have agreed with that, but I don't think I realized just how many of those transactions have been shifted from my phone to my watch. As a matter of course. Not as easily. I mean, because that means that I have to have my phone out of my pocket on the desk all the time. And before
you're not me. That's what it is, because my phone is usually
Thank you.
Hands reach.
I don't know if you've noticed, Chuck, but you're not Jay.
I'm not Jay. No. I'm on my lawn. He's getting off my lawn.
I'm looking, and it's the glasses that I can see it. It's the glasses.
Yeah.
I would have said the hair, but
I can kind of see that too. Sure,
the colors are so much the same.
If I squint a little, I can see where somebody might.
But no, I mean, I think that it is a learned habit as much as it is an unlearned habit. Just like telling the youngins these days to, like, hey, if you're at the dinner table, don't be on your phone, or if you're entertaining someone, put your phone down as like a sign of respect, things like that. I mean, when I'm at the grocery store and I go to pay for my stuff, I just grab my phone and boom, I'm there. Or now with the mask, it's one thing I've learned with that is you can actually do all that stuff and have your card ready before they're done ringing it up. So I use that opportunity to, look at it, figure out why Face ID is not working. Oh yeah, I'm wearing a mask, and then put in my passcode and then scan it. And then whenever they go, oh, that'll be, 2730, it's already done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas with my watch, I'd probably get confused with that double tap or whatever it is you do there.
I don't ever get confused. It's one of the few things that makes me feel like I live in the future is when I can bonk my arm on the thing. Sorry to get technical. And then I've bought stuff and I can leave. That's amazing to me. I love that.
And that's one of the number one things I use the Apple Watch for is the fact that I can use Apple Pay and just go like that. And
when I went places,
I'm on my way.
That was amazing in the olden days.
And I always like when people haven't seen it before. Oh, I gotta get me one of those, and just go in there, and they see me do it, and it is kind of funny.
One of the first places here to do it was a hardware store, and so every time I went there, I would be like, boop, and they would be like, what? And I'm like, I know. That's why I shop here, because you let me do that.
You take Apple Pay.
Yeah.
I just like giving people my Apple card for that exact same reason. They're like, look at it and they're like, how do I? I'm like, it's like a regular card. And they're like, but the thing, and then they drop it and you hear go clink, and you're like, oh.
Clink, 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 clink. Yeah. So, Chuck, an interesting side effect of the Apple Watch that I have seen is I know more than one person who said, because I can do all the basic stuff with my Apple Watch, I bought a bigger phone because I don't have to interact with it in my hand as often. So I don't mind so much that it's big, and I get the better camera from the Pro Max or whatever. So I can have the great big one, but it can live on my desk, on a wireless charger or whatever, or in my bag instead. And I don't have to worry about it so much, because if I get a text, I don't have to haul that giant slab out and try and hit reply to somebody on it. I can do it all right from my watch, and having those smaller interactions available on my wrist makes it so that I can carry around the better camera with me, and and it's great. we're not going to talk about carrying around any bigger phone than already. So, and Jay's going to be that guy holding up the iPad and taking a picture, isn't he?
But Kelly,
That's such a young people thing to do.
Kelly, you're right. That is interesting, because I would not have thought of that effect of the Apple Watch. But also, and listen, we're having a good time with Jay about being the junior member of this group,
the watchlist junior member at that.
Well, but Jay, where I'm going with that is you. I don't know. I mean, who is the Apple Watch for? Is it for a different group? Because it does seem like that the younger generations, the much younger generations, the phone is always in their hand, and as opposed to needing the watch. I mean, does that have anything to do with? Honestly, I'm a little embarrassed by this, but I had to go and remember, look up how do I use Apple Pay on my phone, because it had become so natural with my watch that I just stopped doing it. I never used Apple Pay for that out. There are articles for that, Jim.
Yeah, Jim, he doesn't pay for anything. He just takes it.
Oh, I use my watch.
You use the watch.
Yeah, and I don't know how to pay for things with my phone.
You just
I know how to pay for them with my watch.
You just put your phone on the little thingy, and it goes.
Whenever I try to do it, it doesn't work. So I just but I have the watch on all the time. So
if it works with your watch, it should work with your phone. They use the same.
Yeah, no, it will work. I just don't know the information.
Yeah, I again, and that I think the first time that happened when I went to pay for something, and I'm putting a bare arm down on the poison ivy bare arm, by the way, down on the scanner, and it's like nothing's happening except itch. It's oh shoot, now how do I do this again? And that's when it really struck me as how much my watch has come to mean to me. Look, this is a first world problem. I understand that. But
no,
actually, in this case,
it's a nerd world problem. This is when your first world problem looks at your problem and goes, "It's not a problem."
I don't know if we can call it a first world problem, because most countries outside of America adopted NFC Pay and Tap to Pay before we did.
Yep.
Fair point.
It was a very small learning curve for a lot of the rest of the civilized world to go ahead and pay for things that way, because they'd already been doing it forever. Like chip and pin is the going transaction method in a lot of other places, and it's very, very handy.
Jeff, you threw a comment into our private chat that said that you hate wearing watches. You have an Apple Watch on your wrist. So am I to interpret that as? Right, yeah, am I to interpret that as it makes that much of a difference in your life that you're willing to strap a watch on your wrist?
It does. It's the convenience that I get from it. Also, it's my step counter fitness tracker, having a way to be able to discreetly get notifications and other bits of information without having to pull my phone out and do this, where I'm putting the psychological wall between me and someone else. I can just quick wrist look when it's appropriate for only the stuff that I'm having sent to the watch, and it's great. It's also great for Apple Pay, and I used to say Apple Watch for Apple Pay kind of sucked because I always had to pull a sleeve out of the way or move a glove out of the way. But sadly, our winters here in Colorado are so mild anymore that my coat sleeve is not an issue anymore. So it's much easier to do Apple Pay on my wrist, and when I'm at home, it's actually the HomePod has turned out to be one of the greatest selling tools, I think, for Apple Watch, because using the S Lady on HomePod has proven to be so unreliable that even when I'm standing in the room with a HomePod, it is going to be much more reliable to just lift up my wrist and talk to that, and make something happen.
I really thought you were going a totally different direction with that, because I figured it was like you get all of the interaction that you can have with a HomePod, but you get it on your arm. So even if you're not home, all of it works. Because I don't really have. We bought a couple more, so I think I'm up to 3 HomePods now. HomePod minis.
Yeah, I have a HomePod and 2 minis.
Yeah, there's a mini behind me, and there's one in the kitchen, and I think there's one more on the way. And they're like, I haven't had any trouble with them. The only thing that I've noticed is that occasionally I will talk to the one behind me, and the one at the top of the stairs that's in the kitchen will be the one that answers me. So I'll be talking in like this tone of voice and turn around and ask this one for the weather, but then I'll hear it come from upstairs. It's half a flight of stairs. It's not like it's not like it's super far or anything, but it's far enough that I'm like, that's not the one I thought would hear me. And it reminded me, Chuck, we talked about that here at one point. You were talking about saying something like to your phone or maybe to your watch, and that the HomePod would pick it up in a whole nother room. And like, I've had the same thing happen here. So it was funny.
And not, you're right, Kelly, and not necessarily. What gets really weird about it is it's not necessarily the HomePod or HomePod Mini that is closest to me. It can be completely another room.
It's right there.
So, yeah.
Well, stop throwing your voice.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned, Chuck, was who is the Apple Watch for? I've mentioned this on other shows before. I would give Apple a lot of money if they gave me an Apple Smart Band that wasn't a watch. And the reason I think that would work is you could do a lot of the things that I would like to use the Apple Watch for, which would be log into my computer without having to type something in, because I know I'm the only one that wears my band and it's me, and my band and my phone are close together, or unlock my phone because my band and my phone are close together, kind of those things.
So like a Fitbit, kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping, I don't have one on me because I don't have any of my other devices like my AirPods or whatever here, but I thought if they were to do something like that with AirTags, oh man, I'd buy 3 more. If it were just like, hey, if your AirTag is close to your computer and like you log in, I'm okay with that. It's like if I have my phone and my AirTags on me, like two things that identify that most likely the person that is me is trying to log in, I would be okay with that. Or if I have my AirTags and my phone on me, just unlock the phone because it's probably me. Again, there's some security things there that I will let Apple be in charge of, but they already do all this with the watch now. Why can't they do it with other devices?
So are you saying use an AirTag as a second factor authentication?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's an interesting idea.
Or use a band like on your wrist. I would wear a wristband. I just don't like how the watch looks. I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't like the watch as a watch.
I don't either.
The things that I want the watch for, my watch is too old to have, and it's like, well, maybe Apple one day will put some of those smarts in another device, so I'll just keep waiting for that. I mean, we got the Touch ID and a keyboard now, so I mean,
what watch do you have, Jay?
Series 1.
So I'm not here to try and sell you another Apple Watch, Jay, full disclosure. But here's what I will tell you is that Charlotte over at Mac Observer had exactly the same stance as you, which is like, I want Apple to make a Fitbit because I don't need a $500 or a $600 watch. And I don't need all of the other stuff that goes into that. And then they came out with the Apple Watch SE, and she bought one of those, said like, maybe I'll try it. We kind of kicked it around. I think we had a couple like counseling sessions over on Daily Observations where she was kind of on the fence, and we sort of weighed the pros and cons of like what you get out of that watch for spending less money on the SE than you would on like a regular Apple Watch series, whatever. And so far she's really happy with it. And I know that doesn't change anything about not liking the shape or not liking the size. I personally am not a fan of it either. I think it looks gigantic and weird on my arm, but because of the utility I get out of it, I sort of overlook that now. Just because of the amount of information I can get on my arm all at the same time, because they have that fire hose complication. I don't remember what it's called, but you can have the time and then you have like 4 things in the middle and then 4 more things around the outside. Like that's ADHD Kelly's jam, is that one there. And I'm like, can I cram another complication in there. Will you just give me one more? That's me. So I can tell you that Charlotte really likes hers and that she is very happy with her purchase for all of those basic things. Like in the before, when she would ride the tube, she could put her transit pass, her transit card on her arm and just bonk her arm on the thing, get on the train, get on the subway. She all of those sorts of things she has found very convenient to use. So your mileage may vary, obviously, but maybe the SE could be an option that would be useful.
I know my wife has a Series 3 right now, and I mean she loves it, and I'm just looking at like but it a watch though, and I
Yes.
want a thin bracelet because unlike Jeff, I actually use me checking my phone instead of paying attention to the person in front of me as a mental cue that I should probably leave.
You know what? Like, I'm taking my watch off right now and never putting it back on. Thank you, Jay.
I'm sorry, what?
Mark has been unusually quiet in this conversation. Mark, you started out saying, that you use it for, small things and it replaces some of the phone. I mean, is that pretty much the extent of your use case?
I find I use it in a variety of ways. I think maybe you and Jeff and Kelly have said, I use it for setting timers. That's very easy. I use it a lot, if I'm driving, for text or being able to respond to text or pick up a phone call. I've been actually the phone call is not so much when I'm driving, but a couple of weeks ago I was at a gas station and I was filling up, and the phone started to ring, and I got the call right there, and the phone was sitting inside the car. I would have missed it, and it was an important phone call. So it's things like that as an adjunct to some of the notification capabilities on the phone. I wouldn't say it replaces it. But to me, it's certainly a big supplement. And hearing all you guys' story talking about using it for Apple Pay, I'm aware of doing it, but I haven't turned it on. But sounds like after this session ends, I need to turn it on, and next time I'm at a grocery store or something, use it, because it's. I mean, using the phone isn't so bad, but if that would be cooler, just that one thing there, that, and you don't have to double press a button and then stare at the phone or something. That would be smoother and even faster and easier checkout. So, that seems to me like a good thing. As far as a lot of the other apps and things, I really don't use it for podcasts, for podcasting or viewing photos or things, because it's just a teeny tiny little screen. But as an adjunct for messaging, and certainly I use it, like Jeff and others, for fitness, for step counting and everything else. And if I had the watch on my wrist instead of charging it now, I'm sure, I've gotten that little haptic feedback that it's time to stand up because you've been on your butt for over an hour talking with people here.
The other thing I love about it is the alarm, because my alarm goes off first. And so I get, instead of a stupid noise or something that like is quiet enough that it's not going to wake up anyone else and just me, like it's not going to wake me up. So having the alarm sort of tap me on the wrist and be like, hey, time to wake up, is so much more pleasant. Like, even if you don't need to have an alarm that doesn't make any noise because you're not the person that gets up first or whatever, it's so pleasant. It's such a better experience, at least for me anyway. It's such a better experience than, as the first thing you hear in the morning. So it's so nice. So I would say try it if you haven't tried the alarm on your Apple Watch. Try it, because like if you drop it on the charger while you take a shower and like get ready for your day and then put it on and head out, whether it's, out of the bedroom and down the stairs to your office like me, or you actually go somewhere and work, like you have opportunities during the day when you can charge. So you don't have to worry about like, but what do I do about the battery on my watch? So that's a thing that I have found super duper useful, and is one of the reasons I wear my watch way more than I used to because I wear it to bed because I really appreciate the alarm. So that's definitely one I would say to try, especially if you don't like the alarm that you have, whether it's the noise that your phone makes or whatever. If you have the Apple Watch and have an opportunity to try it out, it's such a nicer way to wake up. It's really pleasant.
I know so many people love wearing their Apple Watch to bed or whatever smartwatch or fitness tracker band thing they have. And I cannot imagine a reality where I would want to do that.
I don't like wearing my watch to bed. I like having that alarm wake me up. There's a difference. I do have a sports
in
strap.
theater mode?
Well, I use bedtime. So, like at bedtime, then it goes to just the dark display and it doesn't really show. It only shows the time and it only does that if you tap on it. So, it doesn't drain a lot of battery overnight to be wearing it. But I also have is it the Sport Loop, the soft one with the Velcro? Like I have that. That's usually what I'm wearing. I mowed the lawn this weekend, and so I had to put the big rubber watch band on. So I don't use. This isn't the one I normally wear, so I don't usually sleep in this one.
I've been wearing mine to sleep for a couple of years. I sleep track. Does anybody else here use the flashlight? Speaking of using it at night,
I do.
I've actually found the flashlight is pretty handy, which I did not anticipate.
Yeah.
The best flashlight is the one you have on you, right?
And it's always that one, and it's way brighter than you think it would be.
Oh, look,
it is bright, and it's kind of nice at night. If you're in the middle of the night, it's not too bright.
And if you swipe, there's a red, I think, that's like lower.
Yeah.
Lower impact on your eyeballs.
Yeah, or blinks. I'm always like, get that out of here. I want the white one. I've also, here's a weird one. I found it's handy for getting stuff out of the washing machine. You ever have stuff's up underneath in the washing machine, you don't see it, and you come back the next day and oh shoot, I left 2 things in the washing machine. Well, I just stick my hand in there with the flashlight and shine it around, and you can see in there real good.
The pro tip I would.
I'm sorry, just sometimes sort of on that note, I find in the middle of the night, I mean, like when it's really dark, obviously, and your eyes are really used to being really dark, sometimes just tap the screen, and that's good enough. You don't even need the flashlight to not trip over your shoes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's
super handy. The other one that you can use that is a feature I think a lot of people forget about is when you swipe up the control center and it's got your phone, the little phone icon on there, you can tap that and it'll make your phone make a noise, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you tap and hold on that, your phone will make a noise and the light will flash. The flashlight will flash on the back of your phone. So long press on it and it'll blink at you. So if you can't hear it, maybe you can see it.
Ooh, that's a good one. So the chat room finally woke up. Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Chat room.
So Paul says, I like it as a phone when my hands are full or up a ladder. And he's absolutely right, because there have been times where I was either away from my phone or could not get to it, answer it on the watch, and the person on the other side doesn't even know it.
I think I completely misunderstood something, because I'm certain you said that he likes his Apple Watch with his bladder.
Up
a ladder. Ladder.
I am sorry.
Shows you where Jeff's head is.
I'm not going to say it.
No, in that case, can't be on it.
No. And Webb says he likes the watch flashlight. He uses the Webb flashlight, especially the red screen. So
I do love the red screen. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
if you're in a quiet room, you don't even have to hold the watch up like Dick Tracy. I found out it can just be down on your side, and it works great. People can't even tell.
Yeah. I like it also when I mow the lawn. I can control music on my phone from it, which I like, so I don't have to get my phone out. I can just and real talk, like I'm using the little music controls, but my hands are grubby because I've been scooping grass out of the lawnmower, so I can hit play with my nose and it works. And that
we've all been there.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget the fact that you can control your iPhone's camera. You can use it as a remote shutter, which is a really
forget that.
Yeah, and it's a really, really nice feature. David, you were
with
holding
a family photo, and my family thought I was a witch.
Yeah, David, you were holding your wrist up, and I couldn't. And you're muted, by the way, David. And were you showing the red screen because it was reflecting as yellow?
Yeah, it was red screen.
Okay.
Just real quick, I mean, we've talked a lot about the Apple Watch, but I wanted to say the one thing that really stands out for me, besides all the stuff we've talked about, is the band. I mean, I absolutely love this braided loop. A braided sole loop.
Braided loop. Okay.
It's expensive, but I find them all. I mean, I've got 15 bands sitting behind me here that I could switch in a whim. I have not changed this band since I've had it probably almost 6 or 8 months ago. So that in itself, I think is nice because it's got its own set size that you could size with for, and it makes it comfortable. So, but I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. That's one of the things that stands out for me.
I've been curious about that, and I only know one other person that has the braided loop, and so I wanted to find out.
It's expensive. I mean, it's $100 for the band, but I'm finding the value.
There's a reason I didn't buy the Pride band this year, and I'm really sad about it because I can treat myself to a $50 band every summer, but not for $100. So,
what's
I have
that?
This band it's a company called Tapioca. And it's elastic, so you just like that.
Oh, okay.
Very comfortable. Anyway. And it's like $23.
Not bad.
You know, this is, again, it's interesting the turns this conversation has taken, because think about how easy it is for you to change your watch band on an Apple Watch as opposed to a normal watch.
Yep.
I mean, that was just sheer flat out brilliance to engineer that in that way, so that you could do what David says, because it will encourage him to buy 15 bands until he finds that magic band that works.
Yeah.
As opposed to, because I mean, before, I think I've always been a watch wearer, but I would get a watch. I'd find one band that I like, put it on, and that was it, because you had to do with the little miniature screwdriver and all that hassle. And Apple figured out a nice way, and they suddenly turned. I mean, there's a watch band economy out there. It's insane.
And when the watch changed sizes, the bands did not. Like the one time Apple ever stopped and thought, everybody who bought stuff for the first version of this should be able to use it with the next version of this. It's like the only time in history, I swear, that they've ever done that. So I always feel a little bit obligated to buy another band because of that. So yeah, I thought it was, because I was like, great. Like I had the original Apple Watch. And so I was like, oh, wonderful. Like I have this handful of watch bands for this watch. And I'm on the verge of trying to buy an upgrade. And now I'm not going to be able to get one because nothing's going to fit. And it turned out not to be true.
I had 42, 44.
Jay's dislike of the look of the Apple Watch is also exactly why the watch band market is so strong, because it's all about whether or not you like the look. So, so if you like the look of the watch, but you don't like the band, then you find different bands. But you also find multiple bands that you like, so you have different bands for different things. And
everybody here who's not Jay has a fancy watch band, right? Like when I have to put on like
here's my handful already, and this is only a short start here.
That's all you have, or that's all that was within reach?
That's all you can reach?
Oh, I can reach more.
Okay.
Okay.
I was kind of worried for a second.
I look forward to David's YouTube series on all of the watch bands he has over there on that shelf.
So, Chuck, when are you going to be healed?
I'm hoping by the end of the week, Jim, that at least my wrists, I'm not going to speak for any other parts of my body, but at least the wrists will be healed enough I can put my watch back on and become a normal human being again.
And if you'd like to find out how Chuck contracted poison ivy, you should sign up for MacVoices After Dark.
Oh, no, I don't mind. That was simple. That was just me doing yard work and not recognizing poison ivy when I saw it. I had to go and get one of those plant identifier apps and snap a picture of it. And it said, yeah, poison ivy. Oh, good. That's nice.
I tried.
Yeah, I know, but I felt like you'd be promising something I couldn't deliver on, Kelly. So
I feel like there would be a lot of yelling and frustration and cursing on Mac Voices After Dark, considering we still have this article that I honestly don't think said anything wrong. And I know that's going to get Chuck going red. Come on, Chuck. Let's do it.
Okay, so let me paste it in the chat room so everybody can enjoy. That wraps up our conversation about the Apple Watch and why you don't want to do without it for very long unless you absolutely have to. Next time around, we focus on a particular news piece that seemed like a bit of a hit piece on Apple and why it bothered some members of the panel and others not so much. That's next time on Mac Voices, and I hope you'll join us. Until then, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.